Right now, an updated look at the tax impact for Madison taxpayers when it comes to the school district referendum on your ballot next month.
Also raising awareness about obsessive-compulsive disorder, understanding the myths and breaking the stigma around OCD.
And trying to catch a glimpse of an event that comes just once every 80,000 years. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. We begin tonight with a look at your first warn forecast. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joining us. Beautiful day on the weather patio, Blaze.
That's right. And speaking of that once in an 80,000 year chance, we're having clear skies once again here across southern Wisconsin. And as we kick off the 5 o'clock hour, we got about 2 or so hours before we may be able to start to see that rare comet. So that is some good news because it was a little bit more cloudy towards the start of the week when maybe the comet was closer, but we still have that chance. The best advice that I can give is to look towards the southwest, find Venus. So if this hand is Venus, the comet's going to be about here in the sky. It is a little bit more faint because it's beginning to make its way further out into space, but I saw it yesterday around between 7 and really 7:30. It is faint, so you want your camera exposure set to as long as it can be, and you should be able to see it. That was out of Barneville, so that is a very beautiful picture right there. And again, we are expecting clear to mostly clear conditions through at least the next several hours, so you really should not have any problem viewing this comet. We are going to track, though, some upcoming rain chances in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The Madison Metropolitan School District says it needs $100 million more to keep up with operating costs. It's asking voters to approve of raising property taxes to help pay for it.
But thanks to some unexpected state aid, they say your taxes may not go up as much as they originally thought, even if voters approve that referendum. Our Merrill Hubbard explains.
Yeah, Maddie, Eric, there are 2 key factors where state funding could alleviate how much people pay in taxes for Madison schools. One is Madison enrollment numbers, and the other is the Wisconsin state surplus.
Really, counting students in the membership are critical for revenue limits and state aid purposes.
Madison School District gets state funding based off of how many students they have. Enrollment is up this year, so they got more money than they were expecting.
The other big news from us is the state certified our general school aids number for this year. And it's considerably higher than what we were projecting even back on July 1. And so that's very positive news.
As the Assistant Superintendent of Financial Services explains, MMSD will now have about $61.3 million in state aid, which helps out taxpayers.
So as your state aid increases, the property tax impact goes down.
Additionally, Wisconsin has a $4.6 billion surplus. If the state government decides to give some of that money to public schools, it could also reduce property taxes.
The district is asking for millions. The state has billions with a B, 4.6 billion. So if the state legislature would choose to provide some of that money in support of cooperation on local school costs, what that really does is changes the amount of the property tax increases for Madison.
The district is still asking for $100 million as part of the operations referendum, so nothing is changing on your November ballot. But if the state gives more funding, taxpayers could feel some relief.
So it's really property tax relief. And so the need for sustainable revenues is solid and constant, and numbers are really firm and solid. But how that $100 million is funded, that's contingent on what the state legislature provides in terms of state aids.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, the referendum question on your ballot is only asking you to give the district permission to raise your property taxes. If more state funding comes through, they actually may not have to raise them as much as the referendum allows for.
Merrill, thank you. A new Quinnipiac poll out today shows former President Donald Trump holding his lead in Georgia and Vice President Kamala Harris with a slim lead in North Carolina. In Georgia, former President Trump picked up 2 points since last month to increase his lead to 7 points. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, the lead has shifted for the second time in the past 3 months in a race that Quinnipiac says is too close to call. Kamala Harris leads 49-47 over Donald Trump there.
It was just 3 weeks to the election. Nearly 150,000 voters in Wisconsin could be purged from voter rolls. Wisconsin Public Radio reporting a lawsuit filed at the end of last month claims 143,742 voters appear to be invalid as their addresses don't match up with Postal Service data. Around the nation, millions of names on voter rolls are facing purging in similar cases. However, if your name is purged from the roll ahead of the election, bring valid materials to your polling place and you can register day of. More information can be found at myvote.wi.gov.
And a county clerk in a small Wisconsin town that contributed just over 500 ballots to the 2020 election says after a shakeup in election staff, they're ready for this year's vote. All 3 election workers in the town of Westfield resigned last week over a long-standing dispute. Courtney Trimble, a deputy clerk in Marquette County, is taking over Westfield's election worker role and says, quote, "I'm confident in my ability to train the election workers even in a short time period. I have zero concerns," end quote. 6 volunteers have joined Trimble in the small town.
Well, we're in the middle of OCD Awareness Week. It's a time dedicated to raising the understanding and reducing stigma around the obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Our Jalen Banks joins us now with more on understanding something that impacts millions across the country. Jalen.
Maddie and Eric, obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD as it's commonly known as, we've heard many use it in a sentence. "Oh, I'm so OCD," or "that's my OCD," when referring to liking things in a particular way or having a certain level of tidiness. But do those statements have any truth to them? I spoke to one expert to learn more on this OCD Awareness Week.
We are in OCD Awareness Month. For those at home that may not know exactly what OCD is, could you break it down and give us some of the symptoms?
OCD is characterized by the presence of obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are characterized by intrusive, unwanted thoughts or urges, and compulsions are the behaviors to neutralize the anxiety that comes with obsessions. These could be either behaviors that we observe, for example, someone washing hands, someone walking in and out of a doorway, for example, or they could be mental. So, for example, praying or counting in a person's head.
So we hear, like in commonplace, people when they refer to OCD, they misuse it in a way where it's like, "Oh, I like my house a certain way. Sorry, don't move that there. That's my OCD." Blah 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 blah. Like we hear it all the time. Can you kind of explain to people or explain away exactly why that is an OCD?
That is just kind of in our vernacular of "I'm so OCD." And we have a saying in our community of "don't use OCD as an adjective." And the issue is when we call being organized or neat OCD, it really diminishes the lived experience of people who do have OCD. Like organizing, that's very drastically different than the distress and debilitating condition that OCD is.
So how common are these types of disorders in people and adults?
The prevalence rates that we know is that about 1 to 2% of the population struggles with OCD. It's not uncommon for people with OCD to have presence of these symptoms when they're a kid. We actually have research that indicates that a person with OCD actually goes 17 years without actually getting accurate and adequate diagnosis and treatment.
Now, if you or a loved one is looking for OCD or other mental health resources, you can find them in this story at channel3000.com.
Jalen, thank you. A beloved hardware store is entering bankruptcy proceedings following the housing market slump. True Value filing Chapter 11 will likely be sold to Do It Best Hardware in a $153 million deal. A press release from True Value says it'll keep its 4,500 stores open and continuing regular operations as they are not a part of the bankruptcy proceedings. Do It Best is a member-owned wholesaler that sells hardware, lumber, and other home goods to independent stores.
National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week is next week, and county leaders are reminding residents about the dangers lead poses to children's development and everyone's health. Greene County Public Health Officer Roanne Warden says 3% of Greene County's children under the age of 6 have elevated blood lead levels. The state average is around 2.8%. However, Warden added there is no safe level of lead. She also said you should test your children according to the DHS updated recommendations. If they show elevated levels, take steps to prevent further exposure.
Have you ever wondered who's the best grocery bagger in Wisconsin? Today, we are finding out.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pazorski is live at the Wisconsin Grocer Association's Innovation Expo. The competition is just wrapping up. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. We are here at the Madison Marriott West, and music is still pumping here, and this has been quite an event. The Wisconsin Grocers Association put it on to find out who the best baker in the state is. From here, they are being flown to the national competition where they had the chance to win $10,000. We got our winner here just a few minutes ago. It was Paul Doe from Sendik's Food Markets. We send our congratulations to him. I'm going to step out. People are taking pictures. Congratulations all around. This was quite an event. So the competitors, they hail from all across Wisconsin, from different grocery stores throughout the state, and they came here. We had 20 in this competition, and again, now we have our winner, Paul Doe from Sendik's Food Markets. They were judged on several different criteria, including weight distribution, bag build, as well as style, attitude, and appearance. Taking a look, this is still quite an event here. Just awesome to see this kind of support for people who are beggars inside our grocery stores across the state. As I step back into camera here, again, things are wrapping up here. There's going to have a little bit of a cocktail party coming up a little bit later, and we're having a lot of fun here at the Madison Marriott West. So we're going to send it back to you guys. Keep the fun here on Madison's far west side. I'm Kyle Pazorski, News 3 Now.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And just ahead, Blaze will rejoin us. A complete look at your First Warn forecast.
And a popular attraction at Lake Geneva will not be back this winter. Why Ice Castles is taking a year off, next at 5.
And the markets bounce back from Tuesday's downturn, a 337-point jump for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The NASDAQ climbs 51.5. The S&P closes up 27. And we'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, brought to you by Cardinal Heating and Air Conditioning.
This shouldn't take too long, should it?
I'll have the unit up and running in a jiffy. Oh, sorry, I have to go to the shop. Sorry, I don't have that part either. Sorry, I don't have that part either.
But you said it would be quick. A fully stocked truck can make a huge difference. Call Cardinal.
Joan Baldwin wants to ban abortion, even in cases of rape, incest, and when the mother's life is at risk.
And would jail doctors who perform them.
Baldwin voted to ban birth control, too, and to deny rape victims emergency contraception.
Banning all abortions and birth control? No one wants to tell you what to do with your body
more than Joan Baldwin.
But she can't tell you what to do with your vote.
A flood of illegals, skyrocketing prices, global chaos, and Kamala wouldn't change a thing.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Nothing will change with Kamala. More weakness, more war, more welfare for illegals, and even more taxes. Only President Trump cut middle-class taxes, and only President Trump will do it again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Create your perfect room for entertaining, relaxing, and more with patio enclosures. Right now, get 25% off your sunroom. Plus, enjoy exceptional financing. Call today. Patio enclosures.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
You don't need to battle addiction alone. Contact the great people at Wood Violet Recovery today. You could be on your way to recovery the same day. Wood Violet Recovery works with a wide range of insurance networks, so a large portion of your treatment may be covered. Wood Violet Recovery will create the treatment plan that best suits your needs. Unlike other rehab facilities, phones and laptops are welcome. Today may feel dark, but there's a brighter tomorrow. Contact Wood Violet Recovery now.
Like a bowl of cherries, life in Attic Angel is healthy and sweet. Our independent and assisted living lifestyles include newly renovated apartments, engaging social activities, and wellness support that is tailored to you. As time marches on, we promote the idea that life can always be a bowl of cherries. Attic Angel, the house that angels built.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A winter attraction that's become a mainstay of Lake Geneva will not be returning this year. Winter Realms, from the creators of Ice Castles, says they're taking a break from the Lake Geneva area this year. The decision made it challenging for artists to build the unique displays. Parent company Ice Castles says it'll take this year to come up with an innovative concept to meet guest expectations in the near future.
The Center for Black Excellence in Culture is one step closer to a debt-free construction. The state of Wisconsin awarding the center with $1 million grant recognizing its impact on economic prosperity, cultural vibrancy, and quality of life. So far, the center has received about $6 million in grants from a coalition of public and private supporters, with $2 million to go for a fully paid construction, with programming available on day one. Alex G., CEO and founder of the center, says the center will provide multiple different benefits for black families and the community as a whole.
This is going to put Wisconsin on the map in terms of creating space where our black families can feel like we really belong here and have a place here. So I am grateful. And again, I'm grateful to Governor Evers and his team and his staff for making this $1 million available to us. I'm so excited.
If you'd like to donate or find out more information about the 37,000 square foot space, head to the blackcenter.org for more information.
The comet C-2023A3 has an 80,000-year orbit around our solar system. Last Saturday around noon, it was the closest it'll get to our planet. Over the past week, it has become visible about an hour after sunset, just above the horizon near the constellation Virgo. But you still have the chance to see this marvel of the universe. It should be visible in the western night sky through next Monday and won't be visible for another 80,000 years.
Well, Maddie, I don't think I'll make it. You might. Blaze is here. Blaze is here at the forecast now and tell us just what kind of view we might have of this.
Blaze might make it too.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I saw it last night, downtown Madison. The light pollution did not really influence that. Clear skies, look to the west-southwest. My main focus was find Venus and then look off towards the top and to the right. It is a little faint, but if you set your camera to night mode, you should be able to see not only the comet itself, but the icy tail behind it. We're expecting those clear skies to continue into this evening. Once again, patchy frost may be possible, but we don't see any freeze warnings issued as we make our way into your Thursday. High pressure continues to slide its way towards the south and to the east. That means that we're opening up the Gulf of Mexico, pushing a lot of moisture and warmth back into parts of the plains and the upper Midwest. That's going to cause some breezy conditions for our western folks as we head into your Thursday, and it's also going to keep pushing a lot of that moisture off to our north. Unfortunately, we continue to sit underneath this really prolonged dry pattern. It is looking like it will maybe break down towards the start of November, but as it stands, if October were to end right now, this would be Madison's 4th driest October on record. We haven't even accumulated a quarter of an inch of rain, and we're already halfway through the month. So when do we see our next chance for rain? Well, we have to look all the way into the start of next week. Monday into Tuesday, that's when we see a little bit of moisture kind of break away from where the jet would be and move its way through parts of Wisconsin and the Midwest. That cold front kind of clearing out that available moisture as we move into the middle of our following week. So we do have to wait a little bit of time, unfortunately. So we're going to continue to sit underneath these dry conditions. But as I mentioned, it does look to break down this pattern as we move into the start of November. How much rain are we talking? In southern Wisconsin, maybe a couple hundredths of an inch to, at best, a tenth of an inch of rain. We continue to see not only moderate and severe drought conditions persist, but that continues to be really a problem there across northern parts of the state. But there is some good news. As I mentioned, towards the end of October, early November, we continue to sit underneath the wetter than normal trend, about 30 to 40%. So that, to me, says that this pattern is beginning to break on down. Since the end of August, I looked it up, we've only seen 17 days of recorded rain in the Madison area. So we desperately need it, and hopefully we'll get some here. While the growing season is done, we need that moisture to get into the ground before it freezes. We go into winter and then go into spring, because that will make for an even tougher growing season next spring. Even though it's been cold these last couple of days, because that high pressure system is going to be using its southerly winds and moving that warmth northwards, we're really not expecting to cool down over not only over the next 6 to 10 days, but over the next 2 weeks as well, taking us into that October time, or the Halloween time frame, excuse me. It looks like we are going to be trending warmer than average. We're back into the 60s for your Thursday. Plenty of sunshine. And again, folks, we do have still a couple more nights here to see that rare comet. I would say start looking towards about the 7 o'clock time frame as the kids are heading off to school tomorrow, mid to upper 30s to low 40s. There was a look at that 7 and your 10-day forecast. Again, that chance for rain occurring after the weekend. So we're back into the 70s starting on Saturday.
Blaze, thank you. Just after the break, a food shelf in Minneapolis takes a different approach at solving community problems. Stay with us.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
I worked as a truck driver for 36 years.
And then one day I got this letter.
Your retirement will be cut.
Will be cut in half.
You don't forget something like that.
Every paycheck we put money away. But because of Wall Street greed, boom, it was gone.
But Tammy Baldwin saw what they were doing and wrote a bill to save our retirement.
Then she fought like hell to pass it.
What Tammy Baldwin did for our families, you don't forget something like that.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Sometimes the smallest cracks can cause the biggest chills. This fall, watch out for The Draft.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I'm working harder than ever just to pay the bills and provide for my family. But here's what Kamala Harris thought my money should go to instead. Job training for illegal immigrants, even after they commit crimes in America. Hotel rooms for illegal immigrants while our vets sleep on the street. Sex changes for illegal immigrants out of my pocket. Seriously, have these people lost their mind? Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's Brad Beasley over at Tundraland, Wisconsin's trusted jacuzzi bath and shower remodeler. It's our fall into savings sale at Tundraland. In as little as 1 day, you can turn your bathroom from average to amazing. Your new jacuzzi shower will be the centerpiece of your home. If you act now, you'll get free installation with no money down, no payments, and no interest for a whole year. Call 1-800-TUNDRALAND or visit tundraland.com today.
Tundraland.com.
Finally, I can see the doctor I want because I made the switch to a Medicare supplement plan. When I had Medicare Advantage, I had to drop my primary care doctor and navigate confusing medical networks. I found a better way.
100 Republicans who worked in national security for Presidents Reagan, both Bushes, and for President Trump, now endorsing Harris for president.
She came up as a prosecutor, an attorney general, into the Senate. She has the kind of character that's going to be necessary in the presidency.
Vice President Harris is standing in the breach at a critical moment in our nation's history. We have a shared commitment as Americans to do what's right for this country. This year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Former generals, secretaries of defense, secretaries of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, CIA directors, and National Security Council leaders under Democratic and Republican presidents, Republican members of Congress, and even former Trump administration officials agree there's only one candidate fit to lead our nation, and that's Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. There's a creative new effort to intercept violence in Minneapolis.
As Susan Elizabeth Littlefield shows us, it involves a lot of food and a lot of heart.
It's Shiloh Care's food shelf.
Where you want to put this at, Miss Jean?
The employees really care.
Stacking it, making sure
ready for tomorrow.
It's right.
Their advisor does too.
So currently we have about 23 youth who are hired and they make $18 an hour.
So it keeps them busy.
The best violence prevention is a job.
And that's the purpose of this place. Food is the draw, but this shelf's unique.
We have mental health on site. We have Narcan on site. So we've saved literally about 7 lives on this lot since we've been renovating.
It's part of a $2 million renovation with some generous partners. From the countertops to the tile, this renovation is elevated. It's about dignity.
You should be able to come here and get the same resources you should be able to get in Edina. So that was my goal, to bring it here.
Now Shiloh Temple is full of resources and full of staff.
And so what we set out to do with the help of Bobby Joe Champion, indeed, we didn't want to just give these kids a handout. We want to give them a hand up.
My heart just is beating fast. Like, it loves to be here. Like, this is like the best place. Like, I ain't never experienced so much of a good place in my life.
I want people to know that we are brilliant young men and we have intelligent mindsets. And I also want them to know that we are capable of being great in this world.
Sometimes a good place to work can bring people to a great place in life.
Change starts with community.
And stay with us for a final check of your first warn forecasts.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
My name is Bill. I am retired. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I live here in Wisconsin. I am not a political person, but Eric Hovde doesn't understand how important Social Security and Medicare are around here. I'm on Social Security, and Hovde said he absolutely supported cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Imagine working longer, paying into the system, and then poof, you're paying your bills with less. He knows it. Cutting Social Security and Medicare will cost us. He just doesn't care.
WinSenate is responsible for the content of this message.
Get an 11% rebate on everything at Menards. Insulate your home and keep the cold air out with Owens Corning Pink Foamular Insulation Panels. These panels are available in many different sizes to fit any project. Get this pre-cut panel today for $9.99 after rebate. Loctite Power Grab heavy-duty adhesive is high strength, paintable, and is easy to use with 0-second instant grab. A 9-ounce tube is $2.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
A flood of illegals, skyrocketing prices, global chaos, and Kamala wouldn't change a thing.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Nothing will change with Kamala. More weakness, more war, more welfare for illegals, and even more taxes. Only President Trump cut middle-class taxes, and only President Trump will do it again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Meet Sarah Kieski. You might see her walking around in her Woke Genius t-shirt. Radical, just like the groups that support her. Kieski supporters want to defund the police. Her allies want to give voting rights to illegals and make it easier for felons to vote. And Kieski is backed by a group that wants to let criminals out early. Want to know where Sarah Kieski stands? Just look at the company she keeps.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
Coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News, more than 100 Republicans joined Vice President Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania, where she said it's more important to put country before party, and slams Donald Trump as unhinged. Plus her new outreach to conservatives. We've got that and more tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, in honor of National Cheese Curd Day, Culver's is pulling out all the stops. The Curder Burger has been available the last few weeks at the fast food restaurant, but now for a limited time, you can get their new hot honey cheese curds. Culver's website says they're classic curds wrapped in a sweet and spicy honey-infused breading. Both items are available nationwide until Halloween or while supplies last.
I'll have to try that. Yeah. It sounds good. As long as it's not too hot.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
I'm not crazy about the hot ones. All right, final check, please.
Well, it's going to be clear tonight once again, so if you haven't seen the comet, and I don't think any of us listening are going to be around 80,000 years from now, so get out there and see it. My best
Maddie
advice...
thinks she is.
I don't know.
She's younger than us, so maybe she will be.
I have a better shot than Eric. That's all I'm saying.
Find Venus, and I would say just look to the top and to the right of Venus. To the south and west, you should be able to see the comet, especially through the night mode on your camera. Plenty of sunshine leading up to the weekend and through the weekend as well. We're back into the 70s by Saturday, maybe there as early as Friday. And then we see our first chance for rain returning Monday night into Tuesday.
All right, Blaze, thanks. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. CBS Evening News coming your way next.